Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dax Shepard. I'm joined by Monica Padman.
Hi there.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
You're wearing a robe, people should know, over your normal clothes because you got a little cold in here and it's 88 degrees in here.
I got a little chilly.
So I'm a little worried about your iron count.
Oh, but you know I run chilled.
Yeah. But also you just had your flies. Do you think maybe your iron's low? Can we get you on an iron supplement?
Sure.
Okay. Probably not the time or place in the intro.
It's ironic because I am chilly a lot, but I'm not chill.
Right. Well, right. Yeah. Two drastically different
Mixed
categories.
messages.
Very mixed. Yeah. If you put on a dating profile, very chill, they would
They'll
think
be
the
confused.
wrong kind of chill.
Yeah. They're going to be confused when they meet me.
I guess you'd have to write very chilled.
Yeah.
Very currently chilled. An old pal of mine, Kelly Osbourne's here today. I love Kelly. As you'll learn, we both got on TV roughly at the same time and were around each other a bunch. And it was a ton of fun.
In the same place.
In the same place, in their home. Kelly Osbourne, of course, is an English television personality, actress, singer, model, and fashion designer. And she has a new podcast called The Kelly Osbourne and Jeff Beecher Show. The weekly podcast and vodcast will feature their dynamic and outrageous personalities and uncensored conversations with a diverse list of celebrity guests and famous friends. They ran this crazy variety show for years.
Yeah.
And they regale us with it. And it sounds insane.
It sounds really fun. Kind of Howard-esque with their like cast of crazies.
Yeah. Cast of interesting creative geniuses.
Yeah.
Please enjoy Kelly Osbourne.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
So we haven't been doing them in person for over a year.
Am I the first one back?
Second.
Oh, still in the running. Still in the top 3.
It's so much more fun.
Isn't it weird, all the weird things that we get to do again that suddenly feel like you're doing it for the first time?
Oh, yeah.
All over again. And you're like,
Yeah.
this is amazing. I'm never going to take anything for granted again.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you find yourself a Californian complaining about the weather.
Or that,
You know?
or that the traffic's back.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh my God, it's so bad again.
I can't believe how long it took me to get here, and I only live like 3 miles away.
Yes, I know.
I was like, 15 minutes because I was still in my COVID bubble of how long it takes to get anywhere. And I was like, and I'll still get there on time because that's one of my isms is time.
You're good
tell
or
us.
bad at being on time?
Okay. I do not like being late. It is extremely triggering for me in a way that can spiral my entire world into like a tornado. And before I know it, I have a sweaty top lip and I'm crying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my day is ruined.
Because you're late or someone else is late?
Because I'm late.
Right.
Yeah.
But if someone else is late, to me, that shows me that you don't respect my time.
Yeah,
I have the
Monica.
exact same thing. We've had a lot of discussions.
You
on our
don't
show.
respect my time. If it's somebody that's late once because they're stuck in traffic or their kid was sick or they have a legitimate reason,
Yes.
I will always be like, okay, that's fine. Like, no big deal. But if it's somebody in my life that I work with or that is a friend of mine that is consecutively late every single time I see them, that means you just don't respect my time.
Or you're doing something wrong minimally. You're not planning enough. You're not saying that meeting me at this time is as important as whatever else you have over and over and over and over and over again.
And me and my dad are the same that way. And it's because my mom is late to everything. Everything.
Oh, wow. There's so much here because Monica and I had a big powwow about me being late about 9 months ago or something.
We'd have a talk.
We had a talk.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I'm not allowed to say powwow anymore. This is not a
Why?
cool
What does
thing.
powwow mean?
Here's what's silly to me about all these rules. It's like you can't acknowledge anything that has to do with Native American culture.
Oh, is that? I'm
apparently.
sorry. I'm totally ignorant to that.
No,
Is
I
that-
just found out about this
Is that
as well.
a Native American word then?
It's
or
like
phrase?
yes, it's a meeting, a powwow, a meeting. Everyone circles around and shares ideas. I don't understand why it's disrespectful. I don't know that I agree with. You can't say anything outside of your culture.
Okay,
If it's derogatory, I completely
I'll give
get
you a
it.
perfect example of why you need to educate yourself in all of this.
Okay.
Is I was at dinner recently and we were talking about how you got to be so careful or you're going to get blacklisted. And half of the table turned around to me and went, "Oh my God, you cannot say that.
Oh,
That
blacklisted.
comes from slavery." And I literally just was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I will never say it again.
Yeah.
Cut to a friend of mine at the table said, fuck no, I am not taking that. That is not where that comes from. He got on his phone and he did the research. It goes back to like 17th century British history
Yeah.
to
Right.
do with people who were outcast in society. It had nothing to do with racism. And like, we really went at this table, we turned it into a debate, and it just goes to show you can't just take what other people say. You have to educate yourself.
This happened on this show 3 weeks ago. We had an episode where I said master bedroom several times. And then people wrote in the comments, you can't say master, that's about slavery. I looked it up. The term master bedroom was invented in 1926 by Sears to put in the Sears catalog. 100 years after slavery.
Yeah.
Well, not 100, but at that point, 70 years after slavery. It has nothing to do with slavery, master bedroom.
But
And then
a
it
lot
makes
of the
everyone
people
look
who
silly.
are doing it and saying these things, I have to be honest with you, are white people.
Oh, of course. Yes,
This
yes,
isn't
yes.
coming from the black
No,
community.
no.
This is coming from white guilt.
That's,
And
I
it's-
totally agree.
And it's this whole thing where, like, I went through that whole thing where I was like, oh, shite. Like, I'm embarrassed to be me because of everything that I didn't know. And I'm so ignorant to all of it. And,
Yeah.
like, this year's been the great deprogramming and the great education for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people who didn't know what was going on.
Yes, I was completely out to lunch. I've been racist innumerable times and not even realized it. Now I'm learning about it.
I didn't
But-
even know what it meant to be unconscious racial bias.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I didn't understand all of that. And, like, I keep saying this, and people are like, you're crazy. I'm like, no, this is the best part of history. We're alive in a time when, yes, it's fucking uncomfortable, but change is happening, and
Yes.
it's great change.
Yes.
And accountability is finally happening. At first, I was like, yes, it's justice, but it's not. Because it'll be justice when everything is fair. Now it's just about holding people accountable so justice can happen.
I'm so with it. But I don't think at any point you are obligated to throw away logic, throw away reason. Like to say that master bedroom is racist when it's just simply not the case.
Well, then you go back to this. Is the word master in itself triggering to a community? So that's the word that they don't like. I think it's also weird because it's so old-fashioned in England. The master bedroom,
Yeah.
where the lord and lady reside. So I come at it from a completely different mindset of it, where like in England where it's like classist, whereas like
Yeah.
I don't want to be a part of like that posh frou-frou world. That's
Yes,
not for
yes,
me.
yes. Same.
Totally.
So when that all happened, I'm like, everyone's saying what master is, we're going to strike that from the language. On a car, what operates your brake system is the master cylinder. Like it has all these applications. The word master.
It does.
And so is to hear that a part on your car is called a master cylinder going to be triggering. Again, if I heard it from a black person, I would be way more receptive. But the 7 people who wrote comments were white people.
Oh my God. And then I read this article about how we're not allowed to say woke anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
What's
always,
that one?
there's
So
always
it's
gonna-
like, okay.
Wait, can you tell me what
Yeah,
the
it was-
rationale was?
I think, I could be really wrong about this, but I think that it was in Forbes,
Okay.
which is really odd to me because...
Well, they're the vanguard of progressiveness.
Right? I don't know if it's them trying to act like they're being a part of this journey for once, or if it's real or what, but...
Or are they being antagonistic?
Right. Are they trying?
No, it didn't read antagonistic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'll find it for the
Because
fact check.
because it was almost like that people are weaponizing the word woke
Yes, of course.
and it's losing its meaning. But I think that people are weaponizing the word racist and it's losing its meaning because when you call everyone racist,
Yeah.
how do you know who
Yeah.
the fuck is racist?
Yeah, we need a few more words.
Yeah.
We interviewed a Latino guest who was saying there's a big difference between racism in your mind versus racism in your heart. Racism in your mind is like you grew up in this culture, you don't really know to be questioning what an advantage you have. That's a mental thing.
Yeah.
Now, in your heart, if you fucking hate Latinos, that's a big issue you're not going to overcome. Is his point.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
So I think it would be of value to make some distinction between those two things because I think there can be grace and forgiveness in the mental version and not in the heart version. Like
And
if
that's
you
the
feel superior to people, I don't mind that you get canceled.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's so scary right now, but I'm enjoying the fear of it. I'm enjoying making mistakes over the past few years because I've learned so much from
Yeah.
it.
But that's such a good attitude that a lot of people are not taking on. And I think that's where we get into a thing like, sure, it's okay to say some people are racist in their mind because of the society they live in, but then they have to make changes. They can't just say, well, it's just
You're
what
gonna
I
be
did.
that forever.
Yeah.
I mean, I have done some really awful things in my life, but the thing that I got the most shit for was being fat. Meaning like drugs, like terrible behavior, drunken, disorderly.
But, like,
We
all of
love
that.
all of that. but
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like all of that, which to me is like far worse than being fat. It just, the way that the world sees things is so strange.
But I want to be really clear. So you got shit for using the word fat, or people were
Being
attacked you
fat.
for being, you're saying fat. So
Yeah.
attacked for being fat, but not attacked for being an addict.
Yeah. I got more work the more fucked up I was.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
that's so interesting.
Okay, so let's start at our beginning. I would like to. Do you want to?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I want to say you're like a year and a half ahead of me, but we both got famous on MTV roughly at the
Yeah.
same time, which was really, really fun.
It really was. And MTV back then was the most fun place you could work on TV.
Oh,
there was
nice.
no other network like it. There was no one doing what they were doing. Everything was a party.
Everything was a fucking party. It was the easiest place for me to be an addict, to be a pervert, to be. It was just a real
You
wonderful.
could do whatever the like.
Yes.
Me and Jack talk about this all the time. Like if we were that age now, I would be in jail for sure.
Yeah.
Because like they'd be like making real big examples. Like like you look at all these young like kid rappers now, and I'm like, psh, pussies. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I'm a girl and I was doing worse shit than you.
Yeah. Well, so this was all happening at the same time, and your brother's open about being sober, right?
Yeah, 18 years now.
Right.
Wow.
And I would have had almost 17 right now. So he was like, yeah, a year ahead of me, but I had had a few attempts. So I knew him, and I used to go to meetings at your house.
I remember.
And then I fell in love with both your mother and you in that process. And I want to know what your memory of this is. I would come over for a meeting and I would flirt with you and your mother just shamelessly for about a half hour.
No, he would. And he would be like, you're going to marry me when you grow up. And I would
That's
just
right.
say, no, I'm not.
Good for you for sticking to your
No, I'm not.
guns.
And I'd be like, fuck off, Dad.
But your mom, but
he'd
your mom
always
wanted
be-
it.
Yeah, my mom totally wanted
Yeah,
it.
Sharon definitely wanted us to get married.
Yes. She's like, he's so lovely. And I'm like, leave me alone, Mom. Like, I was like so awkward and like so fucked up on drugs.
So that's what's fun to learn about you today, because I walked into that scenario knowing obviously your dad had a problem, and then learning Jack too was an addict, and then I was an addict. But I was like, oh, it escaped her. Like she's not in this mix.
No,
Certainly,
it did not escape me. It was
Right.
just that
You were better at hiding it.
so much better at hiding it.
Yeah.
Until I got to this point where I was like,
Nodding
out.
Yeah,
Nodding
those are
out.
hard to hide.
no, you can't hide out the nods. Like I was nodding out, and then my mom was like, what the shit is going on?
And wild too, right? Because you would imagine if any person on planet Earth would have the best spidey senses about people being fucked up, it'd be your mom. Like you would imagine you couldn't possibly get one by your mom.
Basically, long story short, you have to remember, I was like, Mom, look at what Jack's doing. Look what Jack's doing. Look what Jack's doing.
Sure,
because
sure.
Jack got way worse than I was quicker.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that in the long run, I'd end up being the bigger problem. But back then, I was like,
right.
look what he's doing, Mom.
Yeah.
So Jack got sent off to rehab and he did amazing. But then at that time, my mom had cancer. Then my dad had that bike accident. And there was
Yeah.
so much going on with the
Yeah.
reality show and everything that like what I was doing, no one was looking at. So
Yeah. Well, this would be a fun exercise. So my memory of that thing where I would flirt with you in front of your mother,
I'm afraid to ask how old were you?
she was 20 and I was 27.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Was I 20? I thought it was 19.
No.
I
It was
guess-
at the end of that show. I didn't
Yeah,
get,
I was 19.
No, but this is 2004. You were born in 84.
84. Yeah, I was 20. I was
Yeah,
20.
yeah. And I was 27.
Yeah. That's normal.
Also, I didn't touch her or grab her or anything.
No,
But-
nothing like that. It was always really sweet.
Yeah.
But look, I'm open to the notion that I too was delusional. Like I thought that was really fun, and I thought it was fun for you. And every time I would see you on a red carpet or something, I would
would
find
always-
you and say, "My future wife."
Yeah, and it was like this running joke that we had for a
And
really
you seemed
long
to
time.
enjoy it, but I could be completely
No, it
wrong.
always made me giggle.
Okay.
It always did. I was never like, ooh, that creepy Dax. Because there's like, the one thing about Dax is there's like not one creepy thing about you from what I've
okay.
seen.
Okay, good. But this could have been a moment, like a learning moment. Monica, what do you want to say? I could find out that I was like, I was one of those guys.
No, you won't.
Okay, good.
No.
If I were in your shoes, I might be like, I don't understand what's happening. Like, do you like me?
Oh, I totally did. I thought Kelly was the cutest, most punk rock, fuck you attitude.
Yeah.
Adore. This is exactly who I would try to date in high school.
Right. So then I guess I would be like, well, then why?
No, I thought he was just joking.
Right. This is what
I
I'm
thought you were so
saying.
adorable. Yeah.
This is what I'm saying.
So funny that all those years I was like, oh, he's just being nice to me because I was like so insecure and like a former fat person, like still in my awkward body, like
No, I thought you were a unicorn. Well, you are a unicorn.
that's so fucking funny.
But this is a Monica thing.
Yeah, like I would feel like, well, he's making these jokes and like, okay, so I guess I'm not good enough for him to actually ask out because he's just making these jokes. I mean, this is my issues that I'm projecting onto you. But that's what I would feel if like this person kept
it
coming
wasn't
around
sincere.
and they were joking.
Because we have this friend, mind you, he's married, but he's in love with Monica. And he sends me really funny texts all the time, like, "Hey, dude, sorry you got surgery. How's Monica doing?" They're really good.
And they're jokes.
but he sincerely is in love with Monica, but Monica really thinks it's just a bit, or some percentage of it.
It is
just,
a bit.
but Kelly, it's not a bit. He's obsessed with her. He screenshots her Instagram messages, sends them to me. I mean,
As part of a very good running bit. Anyway.
Oh,
That
this is the most committed bit of all time. man.
The commitment bit. Yeah, it's so good.
But did you have a hard time recognizing when guys liked you?
I was so worried about getting my heart broken after I got my heart broken the first time that I turned into a ruthless bitch with men.
Okay.
I did not care if they liked me. I did not really like them. They served a purpose
Sometimes.
and then others not. And it's something that I do feel really bad about now being in a relationship, which is the complete flip side, where like I actually care how what I do affects him. And that's what brought me back after my relapse.
Okay, so really quick, before we leave
Okay.
this bubble that we were in, you were 17 when the show started? Or
16.
16? Were you in a capsule or were you couldn't have been?
Well, the weirdest part is that you have to remember no one had ever done what we had done
I
before.
know.
So
You guys
as we
invented a genre.
So as we were doing it, we didn't know either. And we didn't know what they were going to use and what they weren't because they filmed everything.
Yeah.
Everything. I had a camera in my bedroom, but not in my bathroom. The bathroom's the only place. So they saw when I was up and stuff.
Yeah. But you got to remember not to like get changed in your room. Like I got to get changed in my bathroom.
I just threw something over it every time.
Oh,
Like, it
okay.
just-
Okay. You could cover it.
Yeah. And now I'm so weirded out by cameras. I notice them in places where people never see them as a result of this.
I bet.
It's so strange. So the first season we filmed, I remember the night before it aired, my mom took us to Venice Beach, went to go see the drum circle, and we were like, did we just make the biggest mistake we've ever made in our lives? And then the next day, everything changed.
It was
Everything
enormous.
changed. It was like Beatlemania, except for the Osbournes. Like
Yeah.
we had people outside of our house. I'd never seen cars parked on the street outside of our house before. Like it just wasn't like that.
Yeah.
I woke up and I looked out the window and it was just cars everywhere. And I was like, what is all this? So then I got like ready, like not thinking like, because I didn't think anyone would ever care about me. It was a show about my dad and I was in the family.
Of course. And thus far, when you're traveling through the world for those first 16 years, people see your dad. You're
Yeah.
probably invisible.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Mostly invisible unless it's a rock
You're-
fan who knows my dad's stuff and then they know me.
Right.
But I'd done a few bits on TV from like 12, but not anything substantial, if you know what I'm saying, other
Yeah.
than when we started doing all the stuff on MTV.
Yeah.
And I remember my first thing I did with them was spring break. It was like the craziest thing we had ever. I had so much fun.
You did. Where was it?
Cancun, MTV spring break.
Oh, baby.
Remember those days?
Oh,
it
of
was
course.
like crazy.
Yeah. What was at that time? Were you able to like party while you were in?
Okay, so we had security guard with us that my mom sent out, who's also our Manny.
Okay. You're legally allowed to drink there at that age.
Are you?
I went to Cancun on spring break when I was in 11th grade, and I just drank at every bar.
I was
think
16, but no one stopped me.
Yeah, I think they just don't
it is 16.
stop you.
I think it is 16 in Mexico.
So anyway, like we went to this one place, and I remember it was like Busta Rhymes' crew, and I can't remember who else's crew were there. I think it might have been DMX.
Oh, wow. R.I.P.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
And all of a sudden, it was like the parting of the Red Sea, and then it was like, a huge fight broke out.
A rumble.
And all I remember is getting flipped over someone's shoulder and dragged out of the club. And then they were like, next club. And we went to this next place.
Oh my God.
And it was like Paris was having a party with Nicki at it. And we were just babies.
Wow, yeah.
And it was when like people still listened to rock music and it was like nuts.
By the way, have you watched the Paris Hilton documentary?
I have not yet.
I just watched it 2 nights ago, and it's incredible.
Okay. My favorite part that I've heard about it is that you finally get to see the Paris that I know, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
She's so smart.
Right.
And so funny. But the persona of hey Gorge.
Yeah.
That
Ooh,
is
that's pretty good, by the
That's
way.
her blanket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what she had to build to protect herself. And now you get that insight and you get to understand the person behind the voice.
Well, and what's
Yeah,
really
so
telling is they have
fascinating.
all this footage from when she was a child, and the whole family was obsessed with how pretty she was, and they talked about her all the time. Her nickname was Star in her family, and it's like, oh, you very much see that she's being told her value is that she's beautiful. The grandma wants her to be Marilyn Monroe. Like, it's all happening, but no one's recognizing it's happening.
Yeah.
And then what at first you learn about this trauma she had, like in high school. And initially I was kind of like, is this inflated trauma, like for the sake of this documentary? But then there's a huge support group of survivors from these schools where they come kidnap you in the middle of the night. Like this was like a aggressive outward bound type of thing to reform children.
Oh, wow.
So
I have a
she
lot
was
of friends that went to that school.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so she's just 16 or 17 sleeping in her home, and 2 men she doesn't know come into her room and pick her up and drag her out of the house. And as she's screaming for her parents, and as she crosses, she sees her parents, they see and they're crying, but they've orchestrated this
Oh
whole
my
thing.
God.
No talking, take her to this place. She tries to run away. She ends up being there for a year, often in confinement, solitary.
Wait, because why?
Because she had been going out and getting in
Like,
trouble.
like it's like the
a-
wayward kids. But really what it is for rich parents who don't know how to be parents
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
have tried everything through therapy and don't get it.
Yeah.
And they
to be
they,
empathetic to them, scared parents who don't know what the fuck
Yes,
to do.
scared
And-
parents. It's not always rich because
Yeah.
I do know Kathy, and Kathy Hilton is like one of my favorite moms of my friends. She's like incredible. I love
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
And I'm not speaking about Paris and all that when I say
Yeah.
this, but generally speaking, the friends of mine who are not Paris that went to this
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
Their parents were just so wealthy and the socialites that kids were brought up by the nannies and they thought that what they were doing for their kid was sending them away and paying for someone else to make them right.
Yeah, throwing money at the quote problem. Yeah.
And not actually realizing that part of the problem is that they're not connecting with their own kids.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
So there's a whole survivor community of kids who have gone to these schools, and they got physically abused, they got sexually abused.
Oh my
It's
God.
crazy.
A lot of these schools are in Utah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, so I had my own interactions with her a couple times. I found her to be nice and everything. But as you learn about somebody, and this is what Monica always says, is like the details of people make them. What you're saying, you always say.
The more specific you get, actually, the more universal it is.
Right. The more specific you get, weirdly, the more universal the story
Yeah,
is. So
exactly.
it's like, yeah, so I'm watching this thing and I'm like, my God, man, this girl, what an experience. What a ride she's been on. What a real human being this is.
Did
not
they
this-
show any of the TMZ footage of like what it used to be like when her and I would walk into clubs and the things that they would say to us?
Yes.
Like-
yes. Oh, Did you watch the Britney one?
I can't watch it.
Yeah,
It's
I can't
so
watch
upsetting.
it. It's so upsetting to me. The whole thing to do with Britney is upsetting. I can't be one of those people that like makes fun of her videos.
Right,
this is
yeah.
somebody who is just trying to find a piece of happiness in a world of fucking hell that she's living in, and that she has no control over. And it wasn't that long ago that I had dinner with her, and she is such a sweet girl.
She
Yeah.
seems it. It's so
And she got so
sad.
upset because my dog tried to bite her.
Oh,
I was like, no, Polly. You sit there and you look at somebody and they're just trying to be themselves.
in that doc, the thing I would point out, aside from the paparazzi, which is literally when you watch it with today's eyes, you're like, well, it's assault. I mean, it's literally assault and
Yeah.
it's repeated. But even more, I don't know, subversive of that is her having to go in these interviews at like 19 years old and that some 50-year-old guy going, well, you know, I've got to ask, are your breasts real?
Are you a virgin?
Are you a virgin?
All of that stuff was said to me too.
Yes.
Crazy.
I would have these men when I was like 16 years old in these magazines pick apart my body and tell me what I should change so that I could become attractive.
Oh.
And or pick apart my body and say that I've had a boob job or I've had a nose job or
Yeah.
and I've always been like, I'm the most honest bitch I know in this celebrity world in that sense. Like,
Yeah.
if I've done it, I'm going to fucking tell you I
Yeah,
did
yeah.
it. The more skeletons you have in your closet, the deeper everyone's going to dig to get to them.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's just like, who cares? No one's perfect. Just
Yeah.
say it.
I completely agree. I remember, again, around the same time frame, Colin Farrell.
Farrell, yeah.
I read an interview with him in Playboy. They said, do you do drugs? And he said, well, yeah, this weekend I did probably an 8-ball of Coke and 6 hits of ecstasy and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, there'll never be a big story about him now. He just
Yeah.
completely nullified any
Yeah.
people digging. You know, he's just like, yeah, I fucking love drugs and I do a lot of them on the weekend, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, it's people that are like hiding shit that like people get on the scent and they want to get the truth.
And that's the whole thing with me. And that's why this time around, I didn't go down that road.
Okay, so you put together a big uninterrupted stretch of sobriety, right? A few
Yes.
years?
Almost 4 years.
Almost 4 years.
Yes.
Okay, and things were going good. Did you go to meetings? Did you,
Oh my God, like everything. Like I'm secretary,
Oh, wow.
sponsees,
Oh.
like all of it. Like I was Miss Program.
And did it have the profound effect
Yes.
on you that it had on me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. It was everything to me.
Right.
It helped me grow up. It helped me figure out who I am. And for me, I got more out of the fellowshipping and being a part of it than I did the steps.
Yes, same.
So-
Someone said in a meeting last week, look, if it were just the book or just the fellowship, I don't think the book would have kept me sober the last 30 years. It's
Yeah.
the fellowship. And I totally agree.
So when quarantine happened
Mm-hmm.
and the world changed, I started to change too. And I started to do the online meetings. I didn't like them.
Yeah.
I'll be really straightforward in the sense, like, I do not want to watch you fucking lift weights and sexy face pout into a goddamn Zoom camera. We're addicts. We have the biggest fucking, like, self-doubt / egos out of anyone. The combination of the two and the juxtaposition is insane. That's why we're insane.
Yes.
The best part about going to an EA meeting is that you don't have to look at your fucking self when you're looking at yourself. So you just see a bunch of egomaniacs pulling sexy face, working out, taking their shirts off. And it's just like, oh my God, I fucking hate this. So for a while, I started to get up at 5 a.m. and do this one in England because that wouldn't go down in England.
That's not how they do it there.
No, it would not go down. You'd be literally banned from the meeting. I got nothing out of it. They made me angry and resentful. Slowly but surely, I stopped calling my sponsor. Slowly but surely, I stopped connecting with my girls. Slowly but surely, one girl relapsed, then another girl relapsed, and then all my friends relapsed. And then I'm just sat here and I made it all the way through. Like the worst part of the lockdown. And I'm still like, I'm sober, I'm great.
Yeah.
Don't know what happened. Everything started to go fucking amazing. I'm the girl that when things go incredible and everything is where you think it should be and you suddenly find yourself in what you think happiness is, I went, oh, I'm normal now. I'm happy. I don't need any of this fucking shit anymore. I lasted this whole pandemic without anything.
Yeah.
And then I was just sat by a pool by myself. I saw this girl drinking a glass of champagne and I was like, I'll have one of them.
Sure.
And I just had one and it was fine. And I had a great time and I didn't think anything of it. And then a couple weeks went by and I thought, I did it then. I could do that again.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, done. Like fucking done.
Wow.
Did not last long. Like did embarrassing shit. Blacked out.
Sure,
like
sure.
I can't drink the same that I used to. It wasn't fun.
Any pills?
No, I didn't go down that road.
Wow, even while drunk. Because when you're drunk, the game plan goes right out the window,
Well,
right?
I'm scared because I'm on antidepressants, and I like have been told that if you drink on antidepressants and take anything else, you can die.
Okay, good.
So
I'm glad
I
you
was
listened
like,
to
Good
that.
to remember that.
so I was like, not going to do that. Don't want to die. Just want to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So I didn't mess around too far because in my mind I was still in control.
Yes.
It wasn't until I found myself last weekend covered in ranch dressing by my friend's pool, sunburnt, looking like a piece of shit, that I was like, maybe I don't have this under control. And then I went back to, it's weird, like we're in that new stage, it's only 5 months. I guess we're boyfriend and girlfriend, we are.
Yeah.
But like whenever we're out and someone is like, is this, and I'm like, I never know what to say.
How
'cause
to
how to
explain
explain it because it's like I'm still that like girl that I'm waiting for him to say it kind of thing. But like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just like
He's probably incredibly proud to be called your
course.
boyfriend in public.
he's really awesome.
He's cinematographer?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's really really.
And he
fucking
works?
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay. You never know when someone famous has a partner and then they have a title and you wonder, are they a real cinematographer
No,
or
he
they
really
introduce
is.
themselves as
Yeah,
a
no,
cinematographer?
he has a production company called Antimatter Media.
Uh-huh. I believe it. I'm
Yeah,
just saying,
like
sometimes,
when
you'll see like an actress and her boyfriend's a producer and you're like, oh,
Oh, produce. Okay,
that's a real
It's a very generic.
Catch-all.
producer
Yeah.
or entrepreneur
Yeah.
means
investor.
investor means con artist.
Yeah.
So that's so no, yeah. And
Okay.
he's really talented and like he's one of those guys that can do anything in the sense like he can rebuild a car, he can build a website, he can edit and film and light and do the sound. He can do it all.
It's my number one thing I'm attracted to is competence. He's very competent.
Very competent.
Yeah.
It's so attractive. And what's even more attractive is that when I'm out of line or like not doing something, he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Ooh."
He's a
like
co-pilot.
that.
Yeah, I'm like, thank you for recognizing that in me, even though I already had and didn't want to face it. Thank you.
He sees you.
Yeah, he sees me,
Yeah.
and like it's great, and it's the healthiest relationship I've ever been in.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So he met you obviously sober,
Yes,
and then you went off the rails a little bit.
Yes.
And what was what did he?
he didn't say anything. He just gave me a look, and it was while he was working out, and I was just like sat on the couch watching him work out, drunk, and he was doing a burpee, and he turned his head to the side and just looked at me, and I was like.
He thinks I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah, I go, okay, I'm done. Woke up the next day and was like, done. I called off my sponsor. Everyone made the video, posted it, signed myself up for a month of therapy just to put myself back on track again.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
I so relate to. I'm most vulnerable when things are great.
That's the worst part about me.
I really relate. Like I expect to be miserable. I expect to be
Exactly.
uncomfortable.
I don't expect to be happy. I don't know how to handle it.
And I don't.
Oh,
there's a
man.
combination of I don't deserve it.
Yeah.
One, and then two. I always want more. So shit feels good and things are good. And,
I want
and
it to be great.
Now I need to take it to 11.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm a 5, I'm not thinking like, fuck, let's ramp this 5 up to a 6. I'm just not
Yeah.
in the addict zone of like, I want more. Things are great. This feels good. I want to feel fucking elation, you know?
Yeah. So I wanted to feel the elation by
Yeah.
adding some alcohol to it and ruining my life
And
for
that's
a
the
week.
lie, right? That's the thing that's so hard to digest. I had 16 years when I went out this year. I still believe the fantasy that takes you to an 11.
Yeah.
That's what's annoying.
And
But I
it's-
still believe that.
it's going to like elevate you into a new realm of happiness. But when all it did was make me realize that I'm still numbing some weird pain that I've not named yet. I haven't figured out what it is. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm signing myself up for
Yeah.
some more therapy. And like, I'm going to figure this out. So I'm trying new forms of therapy that I haven't done before. Like EMDR and somatic therapy and...
What's EMDR?
I don't know. I'm
Okay,
having my
great.
first one tomorrow.
I think
fun.
is that like the sound? Is there like sound?
So it's got something to do with sound
Yeah.
and like It's to deal with trauma.
Uh-huh.
And then I am doing this cognitive brain therapy that teaches you how to retrain your thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
We've had a couple people on experts that have spoken of that, and we're both
Really
hyper interested because Monica and I are both.
Do you have OCD too?
We both have
Definitely.
really, really obsessive thoughts. What was it? Someone referred to it as chatter, but
See, I'm on a loop.
Rumination.
I'm on a loop. Only my closest friends know this about me. And I'm going to say this because what else have I got
yeah.
to hide?
Armchairs are very
So-
close friends.
Basically, when something's in my head, like let's say someone's pissed me off, I will walk around my apartment going, I'm never speaking to him again. I'm never going to speak to him again. I'm never speaking to him again. Until I'm like, whoa, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then have to be like, okay, you've just caught yourself. And I'm like, oh shit, my OCD's really kicking off again. So then I have to go back into the practices for that, which is more meditation and more mindfulness and more like being aware of what's going on and trying to figure out what these stressors are. And some days I'm up for the challenge and it's fun because it's like a game and you're learning more about yourself.
Yeah.
But like last week, there was a day I was like, I am not fucking up for this and I'm not getting out of bed and I'm going to sit in bed watching Disney movies all day because I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
I'll be in a riff with somebody, and then I will obsessively plead my case, and I'll anticipate everything they're going to say, and I
And then
will
you're
do
mad
this
at them and you put words in their mouth that they didn't say.
100%, and I'll do it for hours with some awareness as well, where I go to myself, I say in my head, "You've covered everything on
Yeah.
this topic. You're not going to discover, right? Like I'm using like 3 pieces of data that happened. Someone was late, and then they said this, and then they left." There's 3 things, and I'm taking those 3 things and reconfiguring them for hours and hours to make it the worst possible assault against me.
See, I had a thing like that yesterday. Again, I think he's getting mad at me if I keep talking about him, but where we had a miscommunication about something, I said to him, it would really mean a lot to me if you did this, blah, 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 blah. I just need this one favor. It came around to do the favor. He asked if he didn't have to do it. And I said, I've never asked you for anything. And it was the one thing that I asked you for. But my natural instinct was to be like, don't fucking talk to me and hang up. He wouldn't let me do that. And we talked about it. And I realized that I just turned something that was just a slight miscommunication on my part because I didn't really
State your needs, I bet.
it didn't state my needs. I
Yeah.
just said it means the world to me, thinking that he would get that
Right.
meant that it was
That's-
important to me.
yeah.
But that's not how guys think.
Right. Well, that's not how anyone thinks.
No.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
So I was just like, fuck. I was ready to be like mad all day. And he's
Yeah.
like, no, we're just going to pivot.
Yeah.
And also probably subconscious for you, it is a little bit of a test. Like, I don't deserve love. I'm going to casually mention this thing. And if he loves me the way I hope he does, he'll pick up on that and do that thing I want.
No, that wasn't it. No.
Okay. Because I'll do that. I want like, oh, cool. I've been out of town for 4 days. I come home and you're not home. I make that a thing. Instead of having said, hey, I'm coming home in 4 days. I'd love to see you. I miss you. Could you be home? That would be
Yeah.
a responsible, vulnerable thing to do.
I'm that
Instead, I
person.
assume you'll be there and be excited to see me and greet me with great fanfare. And then when you don't, I've concluded you don't love me. But I never asked the person to do the thing.
That's something that I definitely am working on.
Yeah, it's
because
hard.
it's hard. And I think just owning vulnerability in general is really hard for me
Yeah,
because I am most comfortable when I am drunk and alone.
right.
That's where my addict wants me to be. By myself,
Yeah.
drunk, alone, and miserable. Because that's what I thought I deserved. And it's breaking that cycle and breaking those habits and realizing that that's not you.
I also wonder if we share this. I chose punk rock as an aesthetic and a lifestyle for a very specific reason, which is I felt like I wasn't going to succeed with the rules that had been established. I wasn't a jock. I wasn't this. I wasn't that, all from my perception. So I was going to outwardly reject. Like, I don't fucking care about your game. I'm clearly not playing your game. I have a French braid in, or I have this on. I'm doing everything to tell you I don't even fucking care about y'all's game. And that was a way for me to feel confident. Like, I didn't feel accepted by it, so I wanted to send the biggest fuck you that I'm not playing the game.
I was like, I'm not going to be like you, so I'm going to revolt. And everything that you say is ugly, I'm going to turn it on its head and make it beautiful.
Yes, and it'll have, which it does have, it'll have the veneer of confidence. Because other kids in high school are looking at me like, I can't believe you would do that. I'm getting something from it. People are looking at me and going, he must be really fucking confident. But really, I was very insecure, which is why I rejected the whole thing.
I'll give you a perfect example of something I still do. If someone calls me, hey, Kelly, get up, brush your teeth, get in the shower, I'm like, I am a 36-year-old woman. You do not need to tell me. But in my head, I never say this. And I will purposefully wait an extra 2 hours to brush my teeth when I want to brush my teeth because someone has told me to brush my teeth.
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I doing that? Because somebody told me to do what I was already going to do. I'm not going to do it now.
1000%.
And that was how I was. And it doesn't behoove you to be like that.
No.
In any way.
You're the loser.
Yeah, every fucking
Yeah.
time. But the hardest thing for me is to set boundaries. And it's because of my fear of ever hurting someone's feelings. Because it's different from people pleasing. I know that I come across brash sometimes because I just say what I think. And I've learned through the program of recovery that I've had to make amends with a lot of people that I didn't even know I hurt their feelings.
Right, yeah.
So now I'm like careful about how I say things, but it didn't end up helping me in the long run. I lost my boundaries because I spent more time worrying if I was going to hurt people's feelings or not.
Yeah.
Because I learned that I did hurt so many people's feelings. So now it's learning how to just say no in a politeful way and just sticking to it. And creating boundaries with people who are boundaryless isn't impossible. It just means that sometimes you have to love them from a distance for a little bit.
Well, what's interesting is like the packaging that your life came in for us seems so fun. Like your dad's super crazy and eccentric. He's Ozzy Osbourne.
It was fun. It was wild.
Yeah. And so from the outside, you're like, oh, this is fun. Especially when you're young. I'm like, fuck, I would have loved to grow up in that house. I would have loved to have been able to express myself in any way. And I would never be more outrageous than my dad was. And everything would be accepted if I was different and weird. And then I think I can really glaze over the fact that also you grew up in a house with an attic that was in and out. That's fucking stressful.
My dad was never
like
in
cute
and
on
out.
TV.
He was out until he was in.
Right.
Yeah, I will tell you. He was out until however many years ago it was now that he was in.
Yeah.
It would just switch addictions. It would be like Coke, then booze, then pills. And then we always knew if we went to Lemmy's house, we were like, what's going on now? And then it would be like Diet Coke if he wasn't doing anything else. And then it would be working out. And then it would be like, oh my God, you have a can of Diet
You're like, everything you say,
Both
Monica's
of those
like,
things
oh,
are just like,
and then it's working out, and then it's like all of these things. So it was always something. It wasn't until I want to say almost 6 or 7 years ago, he just woke up and was like, I'm done.
Really? What do you think caused that? Just getting older? Like losing an appetite for the chaos?
Yeah, honestly, I do. And I think one of his famous lyrics is, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I used to go to bed so high and wide. And I think that it eventually just got the best of him. And he was like, I'm done. And I think that watching all of us go through it too.
Yeah.
I remember the first time my dad came to me when I was 19. I did a home detox before they shipped me off to wherever the hell I ended up going. And as you know, those detoxes are horrible.
Oh my God.
Horrible.
Yeah.
And I was so sick. And my dad came and sat on the end of my bed and said, is this because you're fat? Because if it is, I'll get you a personal trainer. I love you. And I was like,
oh my God.
oh my God, Dad. Half of me inside wanted to fucking die. And the other half of me was laughing because I was like, this is like the last thing I need to hear ever. Like, I can't fucking believe this is happening. But it was just like, because my dad was just trying to help me, which was like the worst thing he could have said. And then the other one was when he was coming at me, like, you need to get sober, you need to get your shit together. And I was like, you're fucking one to talk.
Yeah.
And I said that to him, and he was like, oh, you got me. But I can honestly tell you, like, I never came from a family where I did drugs with my,
them.
No.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
No,
yeah.
like you'll see some of these families on Instagram and they're all smoking weed together. Like that never happened in my house.
Yeah.
I will say that I've learned a lot how to be a drug addict.
Sure, by
Like
osmosis.
I learned tricks, but like
It wasn't like a family activity.
No, it was not a family activity. I would steal his drugs.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
none of you were all fucked up at the same time, maybe, luckily.
Yeah, we were, but we just didn't talk about it.
Okay. You know, I had this moment with my dad where I had gotten sober and then I made amends to him over having stolen pills out of his thing. He didn't even know about this. But my dad was 27 years sober when he died. And so I give him this long, heartfelt amends and he graciously relieves me of my guilt and everything. And then, like, I don't know, a week or two goes by and I'm like, that motherfucker didn't have it in him to then give me some amends, having been an alcoholic my whole childhood and how much he fucked up. I was so fucking mad. Like, how could you sit there and receive an amends from your child and take it and then not go, you know what, man, I also owe you. And it all came to a head like 2 years later. We got snowed in Northern Michigan. It was like a fucking Coen Brothers thing. We were snowed into a hotel sharing a room. And at like midnight, we got in this crazy fight. And I was like, by the way, thanks for the fucking amends when I was giving you mine. He goes, I gave you a living amends. I'm like,
knew that's what he was gonna say.
What's
I
that
knew that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, did he pull the living amends?
yes. And I'm like, what a fucking cop out, you fucking fraud. What a cop out, blah, blah, blah. Living amends is like maybe to say sorry would enlighten them on something that would be more painful for them to find out.
It's apologize unless doing so is going to cause more pain. Or if it's more painful for you. Like, there are some people that want to make an amends to me. And I don't want to see them. I want nothing to do with them because I don't feel resentment towards them. It's just there's a side of you that will never trust them again.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
So you just want them to be happy and you want them to do it. So you just say, just give me a living amends. That's all I want. And
Got
that, you know what I'm
it.
saying?
Right, like just walk the walk. Be a sober
Got it.
person and that'll be enough.
And there are certain people that I can't contact to apologize to because in doing so, I will hurt them.
right, right.
They've
That makes
moved
sense.
on. They have families of their own now. They don't
Yeah.
want to hear from me.
Yeah, you got to recognize if it's just your own selfish thing or
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
actually
to clear
genuinely
your
gonna,
own-
yes,
yeah, that makes
yeah. So he had decided, I guess, that a living amends was sufficient.
And you're like, okay, well, it's not.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want an
yeah,
apology.
Yeah.
See, I don't get hung up on the physical word, I'm sorry. I get hung up on the actions because people can say sorry all day long. It's what you do after you say sorry that makes the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And for me, that's what I look for.
Well, and again, not to bring it back, but yeah, if you grew up in a house with an addict who's always like, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm getting this. Yes, I'm going to do this. It doesn't mean shit. So yeah, the words mean less and less, and you're really only looking for action at a certain point. Okay. Now, I want to applaud both of us because we met 19 years ago.
Yeah.
And we've both stayed employed.
Right? Do you remember
That's no
everyone used to say
joke.
to us, 15 minutes, or this is just their 15 minutes. I'm like, bitch, this is a long 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Really long. I didn't know that 15 minutes could last 20 years. Wow. It's true though.
I was like reading your Wikipedia. I was looking at all the different things you've done over the last 20 years. And I was like, not fucking easy to stay employed.
It's not.
And you've
especially when
done
you're
it.
a celebrity's kid. Because they just want you to be a cliche.
For sure. Well, that's the story we all like.
Yeah, a celebrity's kid who isn't a supermodel, put it that way. The supermodels they like because they're pretty.
Yeah.
And like everybody is like, oh, they're so gorgeous.
And they're
look
just
at.
reminding you of probably the parent you already loved.
So it's one of those things where like when you are different, when you have issues, when you're unique and you don't fit in the mold, it's really hard to stay employed in this town.
Yeah, and it's also a job of momentum. So it's like one thing leads to another, leads to another, and then
I took 2 years off, and I'd never done that before. And it was the best thing I've ever done because I committed to 1 straight year of therapy. I went every day for a year.
So this was like 4 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I did like once a week for the second year, and then stopped really going.
Yeah, sure. Well, you were fixed.
I'm fit. Yeah. You know, life's great. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
I finally have an amazing partner, and I've got 3 shows in pre-production, and and then a 4th coming up, and
Financial security.
all of this stuff. Everything's amazing. I finally lost all the weight.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, let me fuck it up.
Yeah, of
But
course. Yeah. Let's rebuild. It's fun building. It's not fun looking over the empire. Have you gotten to the point, and I'm curious because I know for 15 of those last 19 years, lived with an enormous fear that the ride would be over all the time.
You're done. Me and my brother always say, like, do you remember that show, Where Are They Now?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
We looked at each other and we were like, we will do whatever we have to do to make sure we are never on that show.
Yeah, that's
And it's something that like stuck. We made this like this weird little pact we made with each other. Like we will never be on that show.
My thing was, because I'm a pessimist, I'm like, I know where this all ends. It ends with me doing regional commercials where I'm from for Aco Hardware, going, you're not getting punked. We have garden hoses 3 for $5. And everything would be like this terrible play on whatever thing I had been popular for. You may be without a paddle, but you won't be without spray paint this weekend in our Memorial Day sale. So I've always been planning for those hardware commercials the whole 20 years.
So I have this whole thing where I know that no matter what happens in this world when it comes to making money, I have a great business mind and I
Right.
can do whatever I need to do so.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in the sexual sense. However, I will.
But
Keeping that on the
don't
table.
close the door to
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
No, that door is closed. But I'm not a job snob. I've never been that. Like, I like working. One of the things I'm addicted to is working. Like, I've had a job since I was 15.
Yeah.
And now I'm 36, almost 37, and fucking sat here like, I don't feel human and whole and like a person unless I'm working every single day on something.
Yeah. That's problematic.
I know. See?
Yeah.
Extremes. My brother's like, you need to get a hobby. I'm like, work is my hobby.
This may be too personal of a question. You can tell me no. I remember you guys signed a huge deal for one of the seasons. Did the money get split up between you guys?
Yeah.
It did. Your parents were fair.
It was 4 ways equally on
No
anything to do with the Osbournes is 4 ways equally.
Ah, that's
And
lovely.
at first it wasn't going to be. But then they saw that the show wasn't the show without all 4 of us.
Oh, big
Yeah.
time.
So
Yeah.
then my mom's like, no, it's 4 ways equally. And that's anything to do with the Osbournes is just Jack, me, my mom, and my dad. That's it. So,
Right.
yeah. That's
Did we talk about your sister? You know, she has a sister that didn't participate, Amy, right?
Yeah.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk.
Okay, great. Oh, you don't talk at all? Okay, never mind then.
We're just really different.
Yeah.
She doesn't understand me. I don't understand her.
Fair.
Wait, I have a quick question. Not about that, but do you think part of the reason you have this when someone calls you and says, so brush your teeth and wake up and do this, and you're like, I'm not doing that. Do you think part of it has to do with you were a kid, but you were successful? And so there's always this juxtaposition of like, no. Don't treat me like a kid. I'm successful.
No, because I was never allowed to believe that when I was a kid. I got told, who the fuck do you think you are? You're just someone's kid. This is 15
Yeah.
minutes. It's going to be up soon. Like, they never let me believe I was great. From my fans, I did.
Yeah.
But the media, like, I would open up these weekly magazines and it would be like some 45-year-old man writing about how disgusting and fat I am and like how spoilt I am. And like, I was a baby. They would never, ever, ever be able to write articles like that today.
Now, no.
Can I propose something provocative?
Go on.
First of all, completely wrong that the person did that. Anyone that's evaluating a child's body is.
Yeah, ew.
But I recognize one thing that also we might share, which is, I won't use you as an example. I'll use Lena Dunham. So I imagine for some people, if she's nude all the time on her show, she's sending this message that's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm so confident. So I think people would maybe say things about her that they should not because they think,
Or
here's
they
my
think
own
she's
example.
giving permission or something.
I get mad at people all the time because no one recognizes that I'm sensitive and that I'm sad and that everything. Yet I'm broadcasting at all times.
Yeah.
I'm alpha male. I don't have fucking problems. I fall off motorcycles. It doesn't bother me. Like, I'm screaming to the world. I'm invincible.
Yeah.
And I'm a man of all men. And then I'm really pissed when people think they don't know my feelings are hurt that you were rooting against me.
Yeah.
So I'm like sending one message, but it's not necessarily authentic. So I am wondering, because I can tell you from the outside, I never thought you had any body issues. One of the things I thought was awesome
didn't.
about you
I
was like
didn't.
that you just seemed so confident and sexy and all these things.
But that's the whole thing. Like, I didn't think there was anything wrong with me.
Right.
At all.
There wasn't.
There was
Until
not,
people started telling me there was.
Right.
Okay.
And when you hear something enough, you're like, wait, what am I?
Right. Am I
Exactly.
delusional here? Is
and-
everyone thinking I'm unattractive and I just am missing that?
Yeah. And that literally was almost verbatim was what I thought. Because I was like, wait, what am I missing here? I don't get it.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
I can't say that like I'm a victim of anything other than like just the circumstance I was in. And I think considering everyone in my family did a pretty good job of coming out okay.
Yeah.
It's just, in Hollywood, they want you to be perfect.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
It is a weird paradox because everyone wants us to grow into a more body positive society. And then they took someone that had the thing we want and then they tried really hard to break it.
Yeah.
But that was then. I mean, I do hope we've made
It's
some
so
strides.
different. No, it really is different now. I've been working a lot with a young artist, and they brought me on to advise them and like help. You should do this or try and do this, because they're all going through what I went through as a kid, and their management teams like don't know how to advise them.
Yeah.
So their management teams have now come to me and being like, well, what do I do with this? Where do you see this? And I was like, oh no, this is like this. It's just the modern day version of it.
Yeah.
And you'll never silence people on social media.
No.
I mean, you might get journalists to stop writing those, but I'm sure they're hearing from
My
assholes.
favorite is like when people write a comment, now you can see them. You can see who they are.
Yes.
Yeah.
So someone's like, fucking whore. You click on their picture and it's like a woman on a pole.
Yep.
And in their bio it says, proud mother.
Oh, yes.
And you're like, okay, what the, like, how does this make sense in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah.
it helps
Well,
take the sting off a little
Yeah.
bit.
But you're like, oh, I feel so sorry for you. Or when someone's like, you're so fat and ugly. And then you look at their pictures and they actually are larger and unattractive. You're like, oh, this is about you.
Self-loathing.
Well-
This is not about me. This is about how you feel about yourself.
and you know what's interesting is it's hard to see it when they do flag a fear you really already have. So a lot of times that happens to me and I'm like, I'm very defensive and my feelings are hurt and I'm thinking about it hours later. Other times, like we posted some pictures of us in Hawaii and several different people were like, oh my God, get a tan. Like, oh my God, so white, whatever. And on those things, because I'm not like terrified I'm not tan enough. Like that's not one of my insecurities. I have many, but I don't ever consider how tan I am. And I was able to go like, oh, those people hate not being tan. Like they personally,
Hate.
that would scare the fuck out of them to be shirtless in my white state or however bright white I was. But I can see it when it's something that I don't ever fear. But if they say like, fuck, your nose is crooked, I'm like, fuck you, your house is ugly. Like, I don't know what else. Like, I want to defend myself. But it is telling what
Yeah.
ones I care about, which ones I don't. Like, if they call you a whore, you don't have a fear
I don't
that
give a
pe-
shit
yeah,
about that
yeah.
because it couldn't have been further from the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like somebody wrote underneath one of my pictures, people relapse all the time. What makes you so special?
Oh, right, yeah.
And for some reason, it triggered me and couldn't help myself but fucking went in on it.
Yeah.
Clap back.
I clapped back and I was like, you are very misinformed and uneducated about what you're talking about. It's like that one thing where I'm like, you don't fucking understand any of this. But it's my pain. It's not her fault she doesn't understand. She was just trolling me because she's like a miserable woman who probably has like one tooth.
Or she loves someone who is an attention whore.
Or there's
Yeah, she
somebody
sees
in
that
her
as-
family who keeps relapsing.
Exactly.
And she's
she's
Yeah,
resentful
but also,
at them.
but you don't need to comment.
Oh, yeah.
You can have problems. It doesn't give you an excuse to.
My whole thing is cancel culture should be replaced with counsel culture. And I think that we should start educating people in the right ways to behave rather than to publicly assassinate people. Because one thing that I have noticed recently is that hardly anybody is the person that they pretend to be on their Instagram, and all these causes that they post about that they say that they're involved in, they're not.
Right.
So I'm like, are you donated to Black charities? Are you learning about Black history? Are you educating yourself?
Yeah, have you read any of the books?
Have you?
Yeah.
Like how to have uncomfortable conversations. Like, have you read any of those books? Like
Right.
none of them. I realized like they just want to appear to be part of it so that they don't get called out themselves.
Sure, everyone's scared.
And in that fear, nothing is getting solved and more evil is being created. So I think the cancel culture is actually doing more harm than good. It's making people more racist and dividing more, and it's turning into tribalism now rather than ever anything close to anything that we could call utopia.
Yeah.
And I really think that it just boils down to people have to start being accountable for themselves.
Well, what I would really hope everyone would do, and I try to do this, but I'm not great at it. When I'm about to write something, I do ask myself, what is my motive? Like, why am I commenting on this? Do I want to appear this way? Am I angry because that person wants a lot of attention, but I want all the attention? Like, I try to run it through a little, like, 4-step for me.
Yeah.
Like, why am I doing this?
Exactly.
And I don't think it would hurt anyone to just ask themselves, what is the real point of this message I'm about to send? Is it about that, or is it about something else?
And a big lesson that I learned on this year is, do you remember when everybody was supposed to put the black
Black out their Instagram.
black out their
Yeah.
Instagram? I got given the wrong information, and I was like, shit, okay, I should do this, and I put it up. And I tagged Black Lives Matter, which is what you were not supposed to do. And the message was that you don't do that because all the poignant information about Black Lives Matter is getting diluted because everybody's just put up a
Yes.
black screen. That was a huge wake-up call for me. I was like, oh, okay, make sure you get every single piece of information before you post.
Right.
Because you don't want to be part of the problem, you want to be part of the solution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In all of our defense, it takes time and
It
energy.
takes time.
You know, it's a lot to
of time.
yeah.
And that's why I say I'm excited to be a part of this side of it because I'm learning. And once you know something, you can't unknow it.
Right. Okay, you want to compete against us. You want to take us down. So you've created a podcast.
Yes.
And we understand. We understand. The Kelly Osbourne and Jeff Beecher show is your podcast. Tell me about Jeff Beecher.
Okay, so Jeff and I have known each other since I was on tour with my dad when I was a teenager, and we stopped off in New York, and one of the ladies on the tour was friends with Jonathan Shepard, the food god, who's Kim Kardashian's best friend.
Okay.
And she was like, do you want to go out in New York? And I was like, yeah. And he was like New York's biggest publicist at the time. And he took us out, and I met Jeff. And then we all stayed friends for a while. Like, I'm making this story really short.
Yeah.
And he went off with Kim, I went off with Jeff. And Jeff was a comedian. So Jeff ran like all the biggest comedy nights in New York. And then he did a traveling tour. And then he moved to Vegas. But through all these years, like this is like 20-year friendship, I do the creative direction for him. So like I'll come in and help him put on the show and like hire the acts and put the show together.
He had something in Vegas, a residency for a long time, right?
In Vegas. And then at the Roosevelt here, we had the theater.
Yeah.
At Beach's Madhouse.
Right.
And
it was like a variety.
it was like a variety show, but the best way I could explain it is it was the Studio 54 of our generation / variety show. And it was insane. And we had everyone from Mick Jagger to like, we did like this poll the other day. We were like, we think there was only one celebrity at that time that didn't go, and that was Tom Cruise.
Really?
Like, because we went through the list of like everybody who went, because we have the notes, because we, for insurance reason, have to know who was at what table and like everything, and not the guest list every single time.
So you guys have been friends forever.
Forever. And
you love shooting the shit, I imagine.
yes, we do. And it's so weird because we've been through so many insane things together. And when you deal with the kind of talent we deal with in our show, they're so unpredictable.
Yeah.
And because everybody that was in our show, we found pretty much on the street.
No shit.
I'm not even joking.
Really?
Like, you'll learn about this on the podcast. Like, Donnie Davis was a cocaine dealer living in his car and dealing drugs in Vegas hotels. And we found out about him, felt sorry for him, and we were like, you cannot be doing this anymore. At first, he was like the worst performer in the show. But he ended up being the best.
Really?
Wow.
And now he's the best. And like everybody that is a part of Beach's Madhouse became family, and we were bringing everyone back. So whether it was like Amazon Ashley, Vicky Vox, Matt, like all the different characters that were in, they're coming back at different points. Kind of in the way that like Howard Stern was.
Yeah, the
but,
whack
like,
pack.
But they're actually our family. Like,
Yes, of course. Of
like
course.
we still talk, like we're on a group text. We still talk every day, like checking in on everyone, especially during the pandemic, to make sure, because they made their livelihoods off of like.
Yeah, did it end because of the pandemic?
No. Way before we
Okay.
got burnt out. Like Jeff and I both at different times had nervous breakdowns. He started his weight loss journey before I did. And then I did mine. He's lost like 250 pounds, something like that.
I was gonna bring that up. Yeah, he got to a point medically where it was like,
Yeah.
So when you guys are together, what is the topic that you most talk about as
Right
friends?
now, is him coming to terms with the fact that he needs to stop gambling.
Okay.
Like,
Sure,
right,
sure,
he needs to stop
sure.
gambling. But most of the time, when you see us together, we bicker and have these stories and like talk over each other. I talked with him the way I talk with Jack. Like he's like a brother. And we have so much fun together. And we only did it as a test during quarantine because we spent so much time together being crazy because we couldn't be more different, but we share the same isms. So that's where our common ground is. So we're both very different. So we educate each other the whole time, but while simultaneously bickering and bringing up all the insane things that we used to do and go through and our health journey and how we came through the other side of everything. But then we do go back to the wild stuff that happened at Beach's Madhouse and the stuff with Donnie. Like when Donnie's had a few drinks, Donnie, not to speak on his behalf, has done like really funny things like sexy text Ryan Phillippe.
Okay,
And like,
sure.
and like we're like, whoa, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and then we have to we're like, Ryan, give us the text message. He's like, no, man, I can't do it to Donnie. Donnie's my friend. And we're like, give us the text messages. So it's like all the stuff that goes on that is wild and crazy about our lives. But there's also a philanthropic side of it too. Like we're starting a charity to pay for the surgery that Jeff and I had for weight loss for people who can't afford it.
Okay.
Because it's so life-changing and it's not a quick fix. It's just a gentle nudge in the right direction. If you don't do what they tell you to do, you just go right back to where you were.
Yeah, that's what I've heard about it. Is
Yeah.
like initially it's really, really hard to overconsume calories.
And then it stops being hard.
Yeah. How long ago did you have that?
2018?
Okay. And you love it.
Best thing I ever did. No, it was 2019. I had to be sober for over almost 2 years before they let me do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's such a life change
Yeah.
that unless you have like strong sobriety behind you, you're gonna destroy yourself. Like end up like possibly dead, no teeth, destroy yourself. Because what happens is when you drink after the surgery, it relaxes your stomach. Also relaxes your mind and decision making.
Sure.
So you will eat more. Or you won't eat anything at all. And then you're malnutritioned and you get long arm hair and your teeth fall out and like all of this stuff. Like, and I knew I'd be that girl that was like, you know, I'm just going to live off champagne for the rest of my life.
For
you
sure.
know?
Yeah.
And so like got myself together, did the whole process and realized that the number one reason I could never keep the weight off drug free because I just took speed to stay thin before was to fix my head.
You're doing the exact same thing, right? You're regulating your internal state
Yeah.
with something external.
Yeah.
Do I understand it
Yes,
correctly?
exactly.
Yeah.
So
and
once
like
I-
drugs too, you're like, it works and then it's fucking miserable. It doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
So how often do you record it? Is it weekly?
It's weekly, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
How many have you done?
okay, so we had like 6 in the bank. But now
But
we
the
have to go
relapse.
back and tweak them all because now they don't make sense. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because I think the mind knows you're going to relapse before you physically do it. So you start thinking and speaking differently and your
Yeah, that's
opinions
true.
are different and you have an ego.
You're kind of paving the way a little
yeah,
bit.
and when I listened to it, when I go back, I was like, how did I not see the signs?
Yeah.
Like it was all there. Yeah. So now I'm like, no, we're going to have to redo that, guys. Sorry.
Was it hard to go on Instagram to own it?
No, that for me is my insurance policy.
Right.
That's my
how you-
accountability.
yeah.
Because you know as well as I did, I could have said nothing and nobody would have known.
Right.
I could have kept going for a really long time and nobody would have known.
Yeah.
But I knew how quickly that wasn't gonna.
That's also the great lie we tell ourselves, isn't it? That as long as no one knows, we're fine.
Yeah.
We always ignore the fact that, no, it's us that suffers the
Yeah,
worst. Like, even if you succeed at fooling everyone, you're miserable.
Absolutely miserable.
Oh, God, I hate this
It's
thing.
like the worst. But I will say the minute I put that out there, I was like, oh my God, I'm free again.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
No
free.
secrets.
Because like there's no secrets, I'm free, everyone knows I can move on.
Yeah.
And then that next day, back in therapy, back in meetings, back in doing everything, and a little bit more free, a little bit less of a shame spiral, a little bit more free every single day since. And honestly, like it's only been a week, but I feel better than I did 6 months ago, and I was sober 6 months
That's what
ago.
I have said as well. Like, this last 6 months, most of it's been better than the previous 6 years.
Yeah.
On a sobriety front.
It was, because I thought that I got to a place of contentment where I was happy being, but there was still more work that I had to do on myself.
Well, for me, it was like 16 years was the accomplishment as opposed to a daily reprieve from the madness.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
The time became what I obsessed about. That's why I said in my message, I've really learnt that this is one day at a time. Because my time was my badge of honor. And you know those twats in the meetings were like, I'm 26 years. I'm like, well, you might as well be one day because you still suck. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, that thing became the only way I evaluated my sobriety. It was like, well, I'm still sober. So I don't need to really worry about, am I content? Am I,
And that's where I started to fall off. But
I was
got
accumulating
content.
resentments was my thing, which is so stupid because in the book, it's like the number one thing that'll take us out is resentments. And I'm like, but not me.
Terminal uniqueness.
Yes. Well, Kelly, I love you. I'm so delighted that we met all those years ago. You're more a baby than I. I know Monica's upset. I was 27 when I was doing that. But regardless, maybe even 28. Fuck.
Okay, let's just leave it at 20 and 27. Okay.
Well, good thing we didn't get married. We probably would have died in some spectacular opiate
the new,
overdose.
yeah, I know. For sure. And you also have like every single girl in the world's girl crush as your wife.
Oh yeah. No, I did great. Everything worked out lovely.
Seriously,
Yes.
like I don't know any girl in my life that isn't like Kristen Bell is the girl. Like you wish that you were like is her.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. That'll delight her. I'm going to tell her that.
Like every girl I know. Because she's funny, she's fun, she's pretty. She's the kind of guy that girls want to hang out with and
Down
girls
to
want to be
earth.
like. And it's like, she's awesome. And she's in Disney movies.
Yeah.
And Reefer Madness. Like, come on.
You're right. Because generally, like I notice this with guys, there's a lot of actors that girls like the actor, and then guys hate that actor because the girls all like him. But there's a couple that do it all, like Channing Tatum. Dudes like him and women like him.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible. Anyways, I'm glad I got that point out. So, Kelly, I want everyone to check out, and I'm excited to check out, the Kelly Osbourne and Jeff Beecher Show, and it is available everywhere one would download a podcast. All your preferred platforms, it'll be available. When does it come out? Do we know?
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So May the 4th be with you. Please listen to Kelly's new show.
One thing that I want to say to you is what our number one message in this show is what you call freaks, we call family. Everybody is welcome. Like where if you feel like you don't belong somewhere, you belong with us. Like we have fun. We want to be silly. Nothing is off limits. It's just a place where in today's world where it's so scary to be yourself, you can actually come and listen to people just being themselves. And we're going to have lots of audience participation and stuff like that. So it's fun.
That's
So
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so
I
much
wish
for
you.
having me.
Yes, of course. I adore
lovely.
you. Going on 20 years. All right. Love you.
Crazy. I love you.
And now my favorite part of the show, the fact check with my soulmate, Monica Padman.
And we're live.
Hello.
That's all I'm going to tell you. I hit record from now on.
Okay.
And we're live. Live from the Mouse House.
That's right.
Well, the Mouse Apartment.
Soon it will be the Mouse House. Well, soon.
Soonish.
Who can
Couple
say
years.
soon?
Yeah. 3-4 years.
6 or 7 years. It'll be the Mouse House. But for now,
It's what do you call the little thing that a mouse walks into? A little archway hole in the wall. Very, very prototypical of the cartoons.
I think that's their house.
A hutch, mouse hutch.
Oh my
gosh,
Hold on.
this is exciting. There's someone at the door. I'm going to narrate the whole thing. Monica places her computer down and then awkwardly sets her headset on the and then trips clumsily en route to the door. She looks through the peephole. Is there someone there? No one's there. A mystery. Who was the knocker? Is it a bomb? Is it a delivery? It's a box. It's a big size box. It looks like the kind of box a helmet. I was just about to say it looks like the size of a helmet box. And you said head. That's incredible.
It looks like the box that Gwyneth Paltrow's head was in 7.
What's in the box? John Doe has the upper hand.
I'm going to open it. This is like ASMR.
It is. Good Foley. Oh. Great. Now she haphazardly guides the scissors scattywampusly across the package, almost getting her hands with every snip. Now she delicately opens all 4 flaps, exposing cardboard paper. And under all of that,
Oh my.
a robe. Oh my Lord, a decadent robe.
I can't say what this is. It's a
Yeah.
competitor to our.
And then it would feel like a whole. It would feel like what do they call
We
that?
did this on purpose.
Inserted ad, or what would they call those? Infused.
Product placement. Okay, well, I'm so sorry, but none of you are going to get to know what's in there.
Well, it
Well, you
was
do
a
know a
robe,
robe,
yeah,
But
a
it
robe.
was sent to me
It
by
was from
someone that
Pepsi.
I can't say. Wow. Well, I hope that ASMR portion was enjoyable.
Yeah. Well, I hope it allowed people to put on their imaginary caps and try to envision how you are moving through this space,
Yeah.
both with the trip over the cord and then the short distance to the door and
I
then
hope they could
peeping through the door hole.
Do you think they could hear my footsteps to the door?
I think so.
I hope so.
You've reached a phase of your career where you get sent random things. You realize that. You're there.
It's incredibly lucky. I will say this isn't so random. There's a
Okay.
reason I received this specific gift.
Okay.
Yes.
You were vocally supportive of the product somewhere?
The product is the mother to a Kristen Bell brand.
Right.
So I have connects,
Okay.
basically.
Did you perform any services?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't. Well, I mean, I perform services for the Kristen Bell brand. And
Right.
this is the, as I said,
The
mother.
mothership.
Yeah. So they're getting stuff out of it. Out of me.
Well, here's been my experience with getting free shit. It was so exciting for a couple years, like unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With a dash of guilt, because like I'm the last person who deserves free shit.
Yes, it makes no sense.
But I love free shit.
Yes.
You know, I haven't changed.
Same,
I'm
yeah.
still the kid from Michigan. But then there's a finite amount of space in a house.
Yeah.
And it's like the Shel Silverstein poem where the girl went and take the trash out. It's just
Oh.
accumulating.
She hoards.
Yeah. And there's a avalanche of garbage.
Oh my God, I'm looking her up.
Yeah. It feels like the house is filling with water.
Okay.
In one of those scenes where someone's stuck in a tank and they're swimming, but the ceiling's getting close. They're going to be out of oxygen soon.
Sure.
That's what it feels like now to me. And I'm really grateful for it because what it's made me realize is like, I don't really enjoy shit as much as I thought I did. It's just stuff. It's just stuff. Like my fantasy of the stuff is what's pleasurable. And what I
What's
think it
actually
represents.
pleasurable is feeling like you can have what you want when you want it.
Yeah.
It
yeah.
has nothing to do with the actual item itself.
Totally. And then once you get all the items, you really recognize, oh, it's not the items.
Yeah,
It's-
exactly.
It's this sense of
Control. Would you like me to do a reading?
always.
Messy Room
Oh, you
Right.
found it?
by Shel Silverstein.
And to my knowledge, he's still not canceled. So let's read it quick. Let's read it real quick.
Okay.
Before it's canceled.
Whosever room this is should be ashamed. His underwear is hanging on the lamp. His raincoat is there in the overstuffed chair, and the chair is becoming quite mucky and damp. His workbook is wedged in the window. His sweater's been thrown on the floor. His scarf and one ski are beneath the TV, and his pants have been carelessly hung on the door. His books are all jammed in the closet. His vest has been left in the hall. A lizard named Ed is asleep in his bed, and his smelly old sock has been stuck to the wall. Whosever room this is should be ashamed. Donald or Robert or Willie or, huh? You say it's mine? Oh dear, I knew it looked familiar.
Oh, wow.
Is that the one?
It is not.
It's called Messy Room,
Yeah.
and it's by Shel Silverstein.
Let me see if I can find.
Well, can you just at least acknowledge my reading?
Oh, it was great. It was absolutely great. But
It was a dry run.
But it couldn't be enjoyed by me so
Oh,
much.
God.
I'll tell you. Can I tell you why?
Yes.
It's a good reason, Monica.
Okay.
So here's what it was. I was like, why did I change it from a messy boy to a messy girl? Am I a misogynist? Is this because I live with messy girls? What has happened? How are we going to explain this after the reading?
Okay.
And all that made me think, I don't think I was that wrong. So allow me to read you a poem by
Okay.
Shel Silverstein. Sarah Cynthia Sylvia Stout would not take the garbage out. She scours the pots and scrubs the pans, candies the yams and spices candy the yams and spice the hams. And though her daddy would scream and shout, she simply would not take the garbage out. And so it piled up to the ceiling, coffee grounds, potato peelings, brown bananas, rotten peas, chunks of sour cottage cheese that filled the can and covered the floor, cracked the windows and blocked the door. With bacon, rinds, and chicken bones, drippy ends of ice cream cones, prune pits, peach pits, orange peel, gluppy glumps of cold oatmeal, pizza crust and withered greens, and soggy beans and tangerines, and crusts of black-burned buttered toast, and gristle bits of beefy roast. The garbage rolled on down the hall. It raised the roof. It broke the wall. I mean, greasy napkins, cookie crumbs, globs of gooey bubble gums, cellophane from green bologna, rubbery blueberry macaroni, peanut butter caked and dry, curdled milk, and crusts of pie. Moldy melons, dried up mustard, eggshells mixed with lemon custard, cold French fries and rancid meat, yellow lumps of cream of wheat. Grandma. At last, the garbage reached so high that it finally touched the sky, and all the neighbors moved away, and none of her friends would come to play. And finally, Sarah Cynthia Stout said, "Okay, I'll take the garbage out." But then, of course, it was too late. The garbage reached across the state, from New York to the Golden Gate, and there in the garbage she did hate. And there, in the garbage she did hate, poor Sarah met an awful fate that I cannot right now relate, because the hour is much too late. But children, remember Sarah Stout and always take the garbage out.
Wow. It seems like Sel Silverstein had an annoyance with his daughter, maybe niece. She was a big mess, and so he channeled it into art.
Could have been his sister from growing up. Maybe he just hated women and thought they were messy. It's really hard to know.
Maybe.
I did such a worse job than you reading it. I jumbled and bumbled and stumbled a lot.
It's a hard poem.
It's a hard poem.
Yeah.
And I'm a weak reader.
But I did do a good job. That's why that's what
great
I was
job.
waiting for. Because these are hard to do.
And it was a cold read. Cold read for you.
But I'm glad you
did a great fucking job.
Thank you.
And
And so did you.
No. I did a just less than satisfactory job.
But we at least cleared up you're not a misogynist.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was really hard on me.
Yeah, I understand.
Why would I have remembered it as a girl? Well, of course I do, because her name is in it.
Sarah Cynthia Stout.
Yeah, Sylvia Cynthia Sarah Stout.
I have one more poem.
Oh, okay, great.
Because it just came up and it's lovely. It's also by Shel Silverstein. Hug a War.
Oh, I love Hug a War.
I've never heard it, I don't think.
haven't?
No, but I like this.
It's one of my faves.
I will not play at tug a war. I'd rather play at hug a war, where everyone hugs instead of tugs, where everyone giggles and rolls on the rug, where everyone kisses and everyone grins and everyone cuddles and everyone wins.
I want to say that might have even been on a drawing in my house.
Really?
Yeah, my family loves the Hug a War.
Oh my God, I'm going to put it in my house.
Put it all over your house.
Put it in the mouse house.
Put it on the outside of the house. Have them paint it on the side of your house.
Oh, that'd be
That
And I
could
would
ever be
never
a
do that
fad.
because aesthetics are important to me.
But do you think that could ever be a fad? Like really beautifully writing on your house? Like tattooing
Like
your house?
graffiti.
Well, that wouldn't be very lovely.
Well,
I mean,
some
some
graffiti
is.
is gorgeous.
It is.
But I don't want it on my house.
Too busy. But some words could be less than busy.
All right, I'll consider it. Kelly. In-person Kelly.
Oh, in-person Kelly Osbourne.
Yes. We do talk a little bit about cancel culture. We talk about blacklisted.
Yeah.
The term blacklist was first used in the early 1600s to describe a list of those who were under suspicion and thus not to be trusted.
When was it invented?
1600s.
Okay.
After the restoration of the English monarchy brought Charles II of England to the throne in 1660, a list of regicides, I don't know what that means. People who wanted to sign a death warrant for Charles I. Okay, that's regicides. That makes sense. They want to kill the regals.
Oh, yeah, like infanticide.
Yeah. A list of regicides named those to be punished for the execution of his father, The state papers of Charles II said, if any innocent soul to be found in this blacklist, let him not be offended at me, but consider whether some mistaken principle or interest may not have misled him to vote. Okay, so this was about his father.
Okay.
I don't see slavery.
Well, that's what I think you've got a lot of armchair experts out there, like hearing a word and then making their best guess at what it means, and then getting offended by the conclusion of their best guess.
I think that's
like,
true.
oh, that must have been a list of black people that were for sale as slaves.
Yeah, which is a good guess, by the way.
Not a terrible guess.
But not in this case accurate.
Right. Like, is it all heading to we get rid of the word black?
No, that's actually the opposite
Well,
of what
no,
they're
but
saying.
someone decided blacklisted was racist, which is cuckoo because
but they're not saying it's racist because the word black is in it. They assumed that it meant
because the word black was in it.
Yeah, I don't think that means anyone's trying to get rid of the word black. I think they're trying to get rid of words that marginalize a group. But again, that was not true.
Yeah.
But Jess and I do have this verbal back and forth about how most things that are negative do have the word black associated. And like positive things have white association.
Of course.
And it's so bizarre how you start seeing it all over the place once you're aware of it. Like black sheep. Oh, we came up with so many now I forget all of them.
But black sheep is literal. At least that one's literal. Like there are some sheep that are born black.
But why are they the bad ones?
Well, they're because all the sheep are white, so they're anomaly or abnormal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because to be the black sheep of your family doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just means you're different.
But it has a negative connotation. It's not a positive thing to be called the black sheep.
Oh, I hear a lot of people self-proclaim themselves as the black sheep of the family with pride. Like, I'm the black sheep of the family. They're all liberal and I'm a conservative or whatever. But I do agree with you. Black is universally bad. But again, you got to decide if that's because of black people or because black represents a lack of light, blindness.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't think it's about black people. But if everything in society is
negative,
connected to that and it's negative, there's some psychological things happening in people's brains.
For sure.
Okay, so the article she was talking about, we can't say woke anymore. She thought it was from Forbes. There's actually a lot of articles on this, but she must be talking about The Guardian.
Okay.
There's an article called How the Word Woke Was Weaponized by the Right. And I think that's what she was talking about. So I'm assuming it was that. What age are you legally allowed to drink in Cancun? 18. Mexico is 18.
Okay.
Again, I think they might be turning some blind eyes.
Of course.
Is that a bad phrase?
Turning a blind eye. I mean, again, some people are blind and can't see.
Yeah. Okay, we talked about the Paris Hilton doc, and I watched it since we recorded this.
Oh, yeah.
It's good. It's really worth watching. It's on YouTube.
Right.
It is crazy to see the character she created versus her real persona and how smart she is and savvy. And like, there's just so many interesting things about these powerhouse females and their relationship with men. Not all the time, of course, but often. I don't know. It's almost like, I feel like it's almost like they feel guilty about being successful and they end up dating people who don't respect them, or I don't know. It's complicated.
I wonder if it's like their narrative is I don't deserve this. And then they find a guy who will confirm that narrative. Like he doesn't think you deserve it either. Subconsciously.
Yeah, I guess that's sort of what I'm saying. Like there's guilt around female success. Like when you have, I think there's something like I shouldn't have it or.
Well, I would say this is what the real catch-22 is for a powerful female is she has to find a guy who's not threatened by her success, right?
Yeah.
But potentially implicit in that is maybe the guys that are going to be most accepting of that are more beta, and maybe they're not attracted to betas. So it's like they're in a catch-22 if they want a certain type of guy, but that certain type of guy is exactly the kind that's going to be threatened by her success and power. What does she do?
Yeah.
you don't really get to pick who you're attracted to. Like, I'm attracted to very industrious, powerful women. I can't make myself attracted to people who have decided to sit on a couch the rest of their life. But that's the person that would probably be most easy to join my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So my choice is to go the other way and then just have way more fights than most people would have, which is fine. Like, it's just all a recipe.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there must be something a little deeper, because she could find someone maybe not as successful as her, but successful in a way where they feel content and they feel secure.
Right.
It's just about security, because
Yeah.
it doesn't, like, there are plenty of, I think, very secure men who are not like have $1 billion, but just like know their value and feel secure.
Yeah. Aaron could date her and it wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah. He shouldn't, because he's with Ruthie, but
No, I'm just saying, but he could.
yeah.
The same way the fact that I got famous has had no impact on him.
Right.
He's never once been like, wait a minute, why is he that? And why? Like, he
Right.
doesn't think of it that way,
No.
which is great. I'm just the idiot on a
Yeah.
school bus still. Although sometimes I wonder, because he is so funny and he can do voices and stuff. And I do wonder if sometimes he's like, shit, I should have done it too. Like, I should have gone to the groundlings or whatever.
Yeah.
But I doubt he thinks that. But I don't know. Sometimes I wonder. But the guys, yes, there's a really hard part of the documentary where she has a new boyfriend. And I mean, there's so much to unpack. One is probably just don't take that person to that situation where you got to work and that person doesn't understand that this isn't your guys' day date to a music festival. This is the job.
Yeah. But that's not on her. I don't like that that's on her. That's on him. He knows that she's DJing that day. If he can't be there to support her, he wants to make it about himself. That is his issue, not hers.
100%. Yes. But what I'm saying is what I learned from that is, like, if I was dating him and I liked him a lot and that happened at that thing, I would say, look, we're not going to mix this. I'm going to go work because you are threatened by that.
Yeah.
So you're not coming with me to any of this stuff ever again.
Yeah.
If I really liked the person and just that really, again, to give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt, an incredibly heightened, crazy life experience that doesn't really happen to most people, where
Yes.
they're with their partner for 8 hours and the partner doesn't look at them once, but looks at 10,000 strangers and takes pictures with them and blah, blah, blah. I did not like the guy in the documentary. I think he's a turd.
Yeah.
But also, he was probably ill prepared for that. He probably didn't talk to himself about it. He got drunk in response to it. Then he was too drunk.
I know, but I just think women are expected to do that all the time.
Oh,
and no
for
one's
sure.
looking at her like, man, that sucks. Like, you're only noticing it because it's a guy playing second fiddle or whatever.
I do think you're right. Societally, it's much more expected that a woman should stand by some powerful whatever man and just be along for the ride.
We're talking about a concert that Paris DJ'd. It was a really big deal for her. It was like a big,
Hundreds of thousands of people.
yes, big career milestone for her in that world. And she brought the new boyfriend and he got drunk and was mad at her. And
Yeah, and he got
was
kind of
ruining.
handsy.
Yeah.
I didn't like his proximity to her.
it wasn't great.
It was bad. But again, that's how I would, if I were in that dynamic, that's how it is that guy's problem.
Yeah.
So I would make it that guy's problem, which is you can't come with me now.
Well, she did. She cut off his wristbands and said, you're
Well,
going.
they broke up. I mean, that was the last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she said, you got to go. Like, you're leaving
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And
You've ruined this for me.
oh,
It was so stressful. Yeah. She was like crying as they're announcing her name.
I
to go
know.
on
And it's supposed to be
stage.
this moment that she's so excited about. Oh,
Oy.
yikes.
Oh, boy.
Also, for me, big takeaway, did not know this, that Kim Kardashian was Paris Hilton's assistant.
I didn't
That's
know that either.
crazy.
Yeah, I just thought they were bros and that she was like started joining her on red carpets.
Yeah. No, she was labeled as her former assistant.
Yeah. It is a funny thing to watch because, they document in there all the pushback and how much she was made fun of for being famous for no reason.
Yeah.
And that's a certainly valid point. But then at the same time, I'm looking at it going like, well, an entertainer is an entertainer. If somebody is providing you with entertainment, if whatever people that loved following her life
Yeah.
were entertained by that, I don't know how we're defining entertainment. Like, what?
Yeah,
it's got to
exactly.
fit in this exact box. And then above all that, she took not doing anything, quote, not doing anything, and turned it into way more money than I ever turned it into. How much can you make fun of her?
Yeah, no, you can't. I mean, she has so many businesses that develop.
She works
after
very
that.
hard
and
on.
so does Kim. So do all the Kardashians. It is very much the same thing where they've built empires off of this idea that but they're famous for no reason. But actually, again, they're just incredibly savvy and have used it to create these very legitimate businesses. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, she created that genre.
Yeah, and she feels guilty about it, which is
Yeah.
interesting to hear her admit.
Yeah.
She invented the selfie.
That's crazy. That is so crazy.
It is.
Oof. Heavy.
Yeah, heavy. heavy. That is where the ultimate bill comes due, is when you're laying in bed and you're like, well, what was the impact of my entertainment?
Well, and I mean, I hope you can see the full picture, right? Like that there's negative sides, but there's also positives. She really did create space for people to have this kind of bizarre career that is now you ask kids, what do you want to be when they grow up? And a lot of them say influencer.
I know.
And that's scary to me.
Yeah. Me
but
too.
but also it's a real job now.
And it's probably not much different than saying I want to be an actor.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it feels different to me, but it's probably not.
I think it's the same.
Anyway, EMDR is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It's a form of psychotherapy started in 1988 in which the person being treated is asked to recall distressing images. The therapist then directs the patient in one type of bilateral simulation, such as side-to-side eye rapid movement or hand tapping. I thought it had something to do with sound, but that is not true.
So this is something you would do once you feel triggered to reorient yourself?
Yeah. Post-traumatic stress is a big one for it.
Wait, it says our thing's already here?
Oh, maybe they dropped it off.
Oh, okay. Let me just glance.
Okay. Okay, so Dax is getting up and he just tripped. And you can hear his footsteps really well. There's a delivery and it's not a head. He's really excited. ASMR. Foley.
Sandwiches.
Those are our sandwiches. Jersey Mike's. We love them.
Again, not a integrated ad. Integrated ad.
Oh, yeah.
Not ad integration. Just tummy integration. So is it preemptively or is it a recentering technique?
It's It's after trauma. So post-traumatic stress, OCD.
Ooh.
Yeah, those are big ones for it.
We also watched the Billie Eilish documentary.
Oh my God, it was good.
Fuck, did I love it. I also loved her Tourette's moments so much. I related so much when I was a kid and I had all those tics.
Yeah.
And I was glad that they showed it. Because you know what? Your biggest fear when you have that is I look whatever. And she it was fine.
Yeah. I loved it. I mean, she's just a kid. She's a kid. She's an insanely talented kid.
And her brother is off
the
the
relationship
charts.
with her brother and how talented they both are. It's just so cool. I just kept thinking these parents, the amount of pride and fear,
Yes, the
so
mix.
much heightened emotions they must be feeling all the time.
Yeah, totally. Oh, so good. It made me a big fan. I know her music, but I don't have any of it in my library.
Yeah, now you do.
But now I do.
We got a lot of good docs in.
I'm on a tear because I'm also midway through the Demi Lovato one.
I know.
I called you yesterday on my drive home from Fort Irwin military base and said, I dare you to find a female-driven documentary that I'm not going to fucking love. I've yet to see one I didn't love.
They're great.
I know. It seems like women have the corner of the market. I can't think of any I guess Kevin Hart had one that was basically just hey, here's my life.
Shawn Mendes had one.
Oh, you're right.
Tiger, we loved that. But that wasn't from his perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I
But
mean
Shawn was.
come let me show you my whole world.
Uh-huh.
And it seems like there's way more female ones. And
Yeah.
I love
There
them.
are a lot. So good.
Do you think it's like because women have a easier time being vulnerable?
Yeah, I'm sure that has to do
Or
with
guys
it.
are just boring. They're not very communicative. So if you followed one around, you'd never
It'd be-
actually
it
know what he
wouldn't be
was thinking.
great. Yeah.
he would never really tell you what he was
Probably a
thinking. or
mix.
What emotions he was feeling. Maybe the Vulnerable Boys will make a doc.
Oh, that's nice. That'd be great.
Once we get some hits out there.
And then Aaron will then start resenting you because then he'll be in a movie.
Well, but he'll
Then he'll have
he'll
thoughts.
likely be the most likable part of the movie, and it'll go his way. Is my guess.
Yeah.
Just given our history.
Good guess. All right. That's all for Kelly. Really fun. So fun to do it in the attic again. Happy to be back there.
Really fun. And I said it to her in the interview, but I just so mean it. Like, I feel this neat bond with her having met 19 years ago and that we're
Yes.
both still working.
I know.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
think
cool.
that's very, very cool. Alrighty.
I love you.
Love you.